All right, here we go. It is June 22nd. That is hard to believe. And I know here it's been warm for the last few days, and now we're back to cold again. So summer's trying. It's trying to peek through. But anyway, any questions you want to start up with here before we get cooking? Nobody? Everybody's good. All right. Awesome. Well, AI still keeps making the headlines. And I've talked with a couple of people, and I get asked the same thing repeatedly. Like, do I have a framework for making prompts? And I see a lot of products coming out on the market selling prompts. I've bought a few of them just to check them out. And for the most part, they're junk. They're garbage. And it's like everything else. There's no easy button that's just going to take you where you want to go. AI is an incredible tool, but you have to work with it. It's not an easy button. I mean, it's an easy button in one way that it's going to do a hell of a lot of work for you, but it's just like hiring an outsourcer. You can hire the most phenomenal outsourcer that has the highest level of capabilities on the planet. But unless you can communicate with them and let them know what you want, it's garbage in, garbage out, just like any computer system. AI is no different. If you get good at the prompting, you will get good at the results. There's just no other way around it. Now, there's a lot of different types of prompts. And this is where, like, for me, if I were to buy a set of 10,000 prompts, I would spend more time going through trying to read the prompts, figuring out what I wanted, than if I just sat down there and wrote the damn thing myself. So I think these prompts that you buy are going to be a huge time waster. You know, it's like a lot of the other programs you get, they incentivize you, they pull you in with all of this stuff. Like, you get all this stuff, you get 10,000 of this. And, you know, it was the same thing where they used to sell the content, you know, private label rights content, the PLR stuff. And they'd give you like 50,000 articles. None of them were any good. But you would spend days and days trying to categorize them so it would be in a usable format for you. And then every time you went to find one, you put it on your site, you read it and you go, oh my God. So it's the same thing, you know, with AI. There's all these products flooding the market with 10,000 prompts. And, you know, if you buy my 10,000 prompts, I'll give you another 5,000 prompts for Midjourney. And all that's going to do is inundate you and overwhelm you. I'm telling you right now, if you're going to be in the marketing space, you better learn how to do prompts. It's a very key element of surviving in this space moving forward. You know, this is a big disruptive change. You can either continue to do things the old way with manual labor to create all your content and do all your research and, you know, everything that we've done for the last umpteen years. You can continue to do that, and you will get beaten and bashed over the head by your competitors that are using AI. That there's no doubt about it. They will beat you up one side and down the other if you're not using AI. So you better learn how to talk to it. It will, I guarantee you, it will save you so much time, and it will be like your best friend if you know how to communicate with it. Like, how many of you have a spouse that you don't know how to communicate with, and life isn't really that much fun? Right? But when you know how to communicate, it's awesome. Things get done, things move forward, things happen. So the communication is the key. It's the key to everything. It's the key to selling. It's the key to marketing. When you're creating your marketing messaging, you're creating communication. You're communicating your value. You're communicating the way to eliminate objections. You're creating demand and desire, grabbing attention, making offers. That's all the stuff. That's all communication. If you hire a web developer and you don't communicate well with them, you're not going to get the website of your dreams. Just like that. If you're hiring a copywriter and you don't know how to communicate with them, you're going to get mediocre copy. The mediocre copy won't communicate with your customers very well, and you'll get mediocre sales results. So it really, really boils down to everything around this whole industry revolves around communication. And like I said, if you're not leveraging AI, you're going to get beaten silly by the competitors because they are using it. They're not using it well yet, but I guarantee you a handful of them, just like every time in history, a handful of people will sharpen their swords and they'll rise to the top. And they will be the kings of the industry, whatever the industry is. So, for us, it's marketing. We're all doing some sort of marketing. We're all doing some kind of sales, whether we're a marketer or not. Maybe you're an entrepreneur, maybe you're a business owner, but you still need marketing. The marketing is what's going to make the sales for you. None of us, I don't think, well, I'm not going to say none of us, but very few of us want to go out and do sales. I know of, I've been in this a long time and I've talked to a lot of people. Usually that's the thing they don't like. They don't like doing the sales. They love doing the thing that they do. They love providing their service. They love creating products. They love their business. But the part of it they don't like is they don't like the sales part. Most of them don't like the marketing part either. None of them like the copy part. Writing copy, sitting in front of a blank page. And this is where you can leverage technology. You have a massive disruptive technology right at your fingertips. If you notice, like when I did the prompt for the prospecting software that I'm about ready to put out, that prompt was like 2 or 3 paragraphs long. It was a big chunk. It was almost like I was writing the copy itself, but I wasn't. All I was doing, I was just feeding it all the details that it needed. I wanted it to write copy as though it was me. So the first thing I opened up with is telling it, you are a marketing professional. You work at Internet Dominators. You own Internet Dominators. You're the CEO. I told it everything it needed to know to write from my perspective. And when it wrote the copy, you guys saw it. It was phenomenal copy. But it was because of the prompt. And I have not seen any for sale prompts that looked like that prompt. Most of them are 2 or 3 sentences, sometimes 4 sentences. Mine was 4 paragraphs. It was an entire page. You probably could have filled up a 1 page of a Word document with that prompt. But I told it everything I knew about it. I told it what I wanted, the angles, everything. It wasn't pretty. If you looked at my prompt, it wasn't in any kind of a sequence. I didn't fuss with it. I didn't edit it. I just sat there and I just started spewing. It was merely a data dump. It was nothing more than just me throwing up in the chat box everything I wanted. It did a phenomenal job of taking all that. I mean, it took that barf bucket and it cleaned it up and turned it into gold. So you don't have to do it. You don't have to fuss over it. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just give it what it needs to know and let it do its work. It is designed to do that. It's designed to figure out what you want and do what you ask of it. That's what it's designed for. So let it do that. And that's the biggest thing, the biggest news on the forefront that I could possibly share with you guys. And it is making this game so much easier. It really is. Like, you could go in there and you could tell it all about your product, everything you know, everything you think you know. And then after that, ask it, what would be the best promise I can make to my prospects in relationship to the delivery of this product? Somebody that buys this product, what is the biggest promise I could make them? The most meaningful promise? And let it tell you. And then that's what you put into your big idea. That's the promise of your big idea. And then you can say, what would you call this? Make it unique. You're looking for the name, the unique mechanism, the thing where somebody can type in a search box and all roads lead back to you. This is the part everyone I've ever taught big idea to has struggled dramatically with it. They don't get the promise, they don't get the unique mechanism, and they don't get the unique angle. You know, the intellectually interesting piece of it. How do you say it in a way that no one's ever heard it before? How do you say it in a way that they go, well, what? I want to know more about that. And you've got AI to help you build those pieces. There's only 3 pieces to it. What's the promise? What's the unique mechanism, the delivery thing? What are we going to call it? That's unique only to us. And how do we say this in an intellectually interesting way? These are all questions that you could ask of the AI. You can ask the AI about your market. You can do market research. You can do competitor research. Who are my top competitors? Again, clear communication. If you're a chiropractor and you ask the AI and you say, you know, I'm a chiropractor in so-and-so city, I'd like to know who are my top competitors. It will probably come back with other chiropractors close to you because of the way you asked it, because of the way you communicated it. Now think about this. If you change the prompt, you're still a chiropractor, but you say, I mainly work on lower back pain. What are the other alternatives that would be competing with me to work on lower back pain? And then it will give you massage therapists, acupuncturists, inversion tables, drugs, surgery. Now you know who your competitors really are, not just other chiropractors. And then you could further ask it, cool, of all of those other types of competitors, what's their promises? Give me a list of the promises from each category. Now you know what your customers are hearing. You know how it's making them feel. You know how to compete now. Without that information, you're just shooting in the dark. You're showing up thinking you're playing big league and you're not. You're in T-ball. You're on the wrong field, right? And if you've got customers paying you to do this, and they're paying you for major league, and you show up with a T-ball plastic bat, they're not going to be very happy with your results, right? So use the most powerful tool on the planet that's just been unleashed at your disposal to play major league. It's there. You just really, I mean, business in general, every piece of business has to do with what's between your ears. Now, this might sound a little cruel, but if you shake your head and you hear things rattling around in there and there's nothing holding it together, business might not be the place for you. But seriously, anybody can do this, but you have to think this stuff doesn't just magically appear. I know so many people have been built by the system. They went to school. They loved the structure of the school. And then they got a job and they loved the structure of the job. And they never got to think for themselves. They never had to deal with real problems. They were all solved for them. They got a paycheck at the end of the week. If there was a problem, it was really someone else's problem. You know, either you lost the job or someone else came in and fixed it, or it just went away. You know, there's not many other options. And when you live in that kind of a world, in that kind of a box, it really allows your brain to stop functioning. It just flat stops. You use it or you lose it. Now, not to say that you can't reactivate it. Anybody can reactivate it, but you have to start using it. You have to start asking the right questions. You have to start thinking. And everything is fairly logical in this game. You know, like, why does somebody make a purchase? You know, what is it that they want? You know, look at the timeline. All of the pieces of ACT are the logics. I've taken all the guesswork out of it for you. All the logics are there. I have put the framework. All you have to do is think through each piece. You don't have to cook it up. The recipe's already there. The oven door's open. You just got to, you know, put it together and throw it in the oven and bake it. But you literally have to think about all these things. The more you think about it, the more clear that you can communicate it, the better your results are going to be. Doesn't matter if you're doing the work yourself or if you're hiring it out, you still have to communicate it ultimately so that communication rolls down the hill to your customers or your prospects that will turn into customers if you can communicate your value. So, Tony, go ahead. You just got to unmute.
Hey, good afternoon.
Yeah, how's it going?
Super, super. So what I was wanting to do, you've made some recommendation for us on our website recently, John, and we've been making some adjustments based on that. And so I wanted to get a little bit of feedback from you, if you could look at a page that we have that we're building. You got time for that?
Absolutely. You want to put it in the chat window? I'll pull it up.
That's what I'm working on right this moment.
Okay, super lawn trucks. All right, I will share the screen so you guys could see what I'm looking at here. All right. All right, so this is much cleaner and clearer than what you had before. You've shortened up, you know, where we're not looking all the way across the screen to read the headline. It's a clear action. In stock, ready to deliver to your door. So if your person, if this is their thing and they need a truck fast, you hit it right on the head.
Well, that's one of our avatars, right? This is like what we've been working on, John, is probably understanding and trying to get the alignment between, you know, the avatars that we actually serve and the pages on the website. So this is you know, how does it take, you know, 4 weeks for us to get 25 words reduced on a page? I don't know, but it is what it is. This is what we've been working on.
That's the thing. But have you found that this actually makes you think, this process?
It does. Yeah, no doubt about it, man. It's, you know, what I've been, I guess, kind of coming to terms with is the a higher level of attention to detail on this targeting. Okay, so I appreciate the reminders of that. And,
yeah. So a couple of things here that I see is let me just take a minute. This is a 1-minute video. Okay, you're okay if we would just watch this?
Please.
We good to watch the video?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
Superlawn Trucks introduces the Fast Track truck. This powerful Superlawn truck will be kept in stock. If it sells out fast, new trucks will be available in 30 days or less, ready for delivery. When you need a truck super fast, the Fast Track program combines a single cab Isuzu with a 2.5 or a 5 cubic yard debris dumper, a 16-foot enclosed body with the MR750 loading ramp. Easily add an onboard fueling station, hand and power tool storage system, double utility shelf, recessed D-rings, rear towing hitch, and chrome wheel cover. An onboard air compressor, power inverter, and a rear backup camera can also be installed to keep your operations safe and efficient. The Superlawn Fast Track program combines a complete truck build with financing ready for delivery. Let's get started. Get on the Superlawn Fast Track. Complete the form on the right, give us a small deposit, and then watch your email for instructions to complete your purchase. Fast Track, only from Superlawn Technology.
Okay, so one thing about that video, you hit a lot of stuff real quick, but a lot of that stuff needed a follow-up of what I would recommend that you do is maybe talk about fewer things, but each thing that you mention, WizGat it. You remember what WizGat is? The WizGat is what is so good about that. That's what they do. That is like the secret sauce formula to the infomercial guys. They'll bring somebody on that doesn't know how to sell their product onto a live infomercial. And the way that they get spectacular results is they say, tell me about your product. And the person says something. And before they can say the second thing, the guy on the other side says, what's so good about that? And then they go into detail of why that's important, why you want that. And then he's like, okay, cool. What's the next thing? And then he hits the next point. What's so good about that? They keep doing the what's so good about that till there's literally nothing left. And by the end of the infomercial, they've sold a gazillion products. The other thing about that is one of the things I absolutely love about Perry Belcher is his phrase that he said, you've got to take the whiskers off the cheese. Like you're ultimately trying to catch a mouse here. The mouse sees the cheese, but then he sees some whiskers behind it and he ain't going for the cheese, right? So you've got to remove the whiskers from the cheese. So the first thing that really grabbed me there is not only am I filling this out, I'm having to leave a deposit, even though it's a small deposit. This is a perfect example of micro commitment. So as far as the micro commitment goes here, this has dropped the ball. This needs to get cleaned up for that. I wouldn't mention the deposit at all at this stage of the game. This is like micro commitment. I've described this many times, just like dating. So when you're dating, you have to, if you're going to be successful at dating, you have to use micro commitments because you've got somebody on the other end that is your prospect and they're going to be cagey. Like if you go up to a woman and you never met her before and you say, hey, I would love to pick you up at 8 and take you out to dinner. She's probably going to say no, right? Even if she finds you attractive, she's probably going to say no because you've asked a lot. You've asked a very complex thing there. She's got to answer a lot of questions to say yes to that. First off, does she want you to know where she lives? Second off, does she want to be held captive by you picking her up till you're ready to bring her home? Third, does she want you at her doorstep at the end of the night. Because that's going to happen. All these things are going around in her head. It's going to make her say no, right? And you need to treat your prospect the same way. You got a lot of stuff going around in their head right now that they're going to say no to this form, right? So micro commitments, the way you equate this, and I'll make it match the dating example. So if you wanted to convert more, what you do is say, I'd love to get to know you a little bit more. If you'd be willing to meet me at Starbucks for coffee tomorrow, I'll buy you a cup of coffee and, we'll have a conversation. She'll probably say yes to that because it's a micro commitment. All she's got to decide is, does she want to have a cup of coffee with you at a public location? She's in total control when she leaves, how she gets there, when she gets there, everything. She's in the driver's seat. So she's probably going to say yes. Right? Now here, you have to have a simple yes thing that they want to quote. They want to know how easy and fast you can get them in a truck and how inexpensive. So rather than say, get a quote, I would probably change that to find out just how inexpensive you can start this business, or find out how you can get this truck on your workspace for just a fraction of what you think it's going to cost you. And that is a yes. Do they want to know how cheap they can get this truck and how fast? Yes. They're not having an answer. Do they want to put their name and email address in? They're not having an answer. Oh, do I want this guy to have my phone number? I know he's going to call me. They're not going to want to answer, well, do I really want to put a deposit down on this thing? Because right now you got all those things. They have to answer all of those things for them to say yes here.
Yeah, the video we hadn't attacked yet. Obviously what you're describing is that we've covered all these options, and the more options actually probably confuses people and creates more hurdles to more decisions have to be made. So
yeah,
I think what you're saying is, okay, so you like what I have found in talking with people on the phone, man, a 1 minute video that is delivered punch is always more effective and easy. And so we remove the option with, we're going to cover the top 3 things as included here and why they're so good. And then, hey, we're going to get you the availability and the price, and how affordable it is, and just by requesting it right now. That's it.
Yeah.
At the end of the promise.
And the other thing here, this box right here, that is whiskers on the cheese. So you should remove that box off that page.
What's that? This whole web form?
The whole form. Yes.
Okay.
That form should disappear.
So it should just be a button. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. Like here's an example. Like get yours today. I'm giving them a free thing here. All they have to do is say, yeah, I want it. They click here and then it says, it reiterates what they're going to get. And now they put their name and email address in. So it's a micro commitment. The first micro commitment was, yeah, I want it, click. Now that they're already in motion, they're much more likely to put their name and email address in. So anything that you do, you should have that. Like here, I'm giving away a predictable client getting system. And I'm saying, if you want to scale your business, that's what most people are here for. I'm telling them, you need a predictable way to get new clients. This is the absolute best client acquisition system. Download it now. Hell yeah. Easy, simple, single decision. Do I want it? Yes. Boom. There it is. Get instant access. Just put your name and email address in, you get instant access. So it's the whiskers are off the cheese. that will increase your conversion ratio dramatically.
When you go back and you look at this, it had been kind of my thought that we needed to have this, I guess comparable one size, kind of similar sizes on each column of information.
Well, you could still do that. You can still do that. You just need to put your text over here, make that button bigger, and you can still have the columns equal, or you can reduce the column down in the width of it. That's not a problem either.
I got you. Okay. All right. Scroll on down just a little bit if you don't mind, and just give me how confusing do we get right here. Basically, what the hope and dream is that we can provide this two options and get them at least a little bit more.
Okay, so here you're overwhelming them with stuff that all looks the same.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what I'm looking at here. There's no titles. And if I would probably make this maybe 2 wide instead of 4 wide, so you can actually see it better. And I would put a title and the what's so good about that. And if I couldn't come up with a what's so good about that, I'd eliminate it.
Okay.
Like these two here look identical, and they're not.
We kind of got placeholders in there right now, so that's kind of what's going on right there.
Okay, but yeah, I would make this much higher impact than, instead of just like, this is a gallery. This is like if somebody wanted to, if this was a fishing website and they wanted to look at fish pictures with girls holding fish up, this is perfect. Because they're going to click, they're going to stay, they're going to look at this stuff. But when it's a truck and it's all the same stuff and they're really here to make a purchase, every image should be related to a buying decision. When they look at that, they should want it, and you need to help them understand why they want it with a headline and a WSGAT. What's so good about that?
Okay.
Those are all benefits. Everything about your website should be benefit driven to get them what they want. If you're not driving a benefit, you're wasting the space.
Okay.
So, and then the same thing here. This is all like a white paper. White papers are boring. Nobody reads white papers unless they're really like, they're down to making a decision between, I want this truck or this truck, and then they go down into this kind of detail. If they know how wide it's got to be, and they're going to check it and they're going to compare that with two they're trying to decide on, that's when they get down to this kind of level. But you're much better off talking about what's so good about the stuff instead of the nitty-gritty details of it. I mean, not to say that this information isn't important, but you might want to put it under, you'll see like in shopping carts, usually they'll have dimensions. They'll have a button to actually see the dimensions if they want to go to that detail level. But otherwise, they don't show all that data. They just show the buying data. They show the benefit data. And then if you want the detail, they have the button there to reveal the detail for you. So they don't eliminate it, but they hide it because it could be overwhelming. The last thing you want to do if somebody wants this truck is have them come down here and go, oh God, I should read all this stuff. This stuff all looks important. And they get halfway into it and they're tired and you've overwhelmed them and you just lost the sale.
Gotcha. So we could probably put, basically have all this come available, I guess, through an email or through the quote process. And not even have to really worry about it here. We'll just focus on the biggest picture items and truck body and, and then the what's good about
Yeah.
accessories we have built on there.
Because the biggest thing that you're going to do here on this page is not about selling the truck.
Mm-hmm.
This page is about creating a prospect.
Mm-hmm.
This page is about getting them to bite the cheese. So when they fill out this form, they're now in your keep system. Now you can follow up with them effectively. If you don't get them into your database, you cannot follow up with them effectively.
Yeah.
Your odds of selling this truck, if you can follow up with them, went up exponentially. So job number one of this page is to get them in the list. So micro commitments, benefit oriented, whiz-gat the living shit out of this thing, whiz-gat the living shit out of why they want the quote.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you got to hold some stuff back. Like you tease them with how affordable it is. Like you won't believe how inexpensive you could get this truck in your driveway, and I can have it there by this afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
You go, wow, really? How much? You want to get them leaning forward. You want to get them inquisitive. So too much information will often drive them away.
Good. Thank you for that, John.
All right, cool. And hopefully that wasn't too much like I'm piling a ton of bricks on you.
No, it's all part of what we got to do, man. I mean, it's work, right? I mean, there's
Yep.
real work involved with marketing, and and if we do good at it, then maybe we'll improve our sales, right?
Oh, there's no doubt about it. I'm certain that you will. There's absolutely no doubt in my mind that you will increase sales. Every little thing. You don't even have to get it perfect. Like if you did just one thing that I told you, that would increase your odds. If you did two, it would increase them more. You know, the more you do, the better it'll be.
Well, we're working on it, brother. I promise you.
All right. Well, I'm here every step of the way, so don't don't ever hesitate to lean on me for what you need.
That's what we're here for. Thank you.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you for bringing that up for us. All right. Who else has something they want me to attack? They're all going, oh, no way. No, it's all good stuff. It's the only way that you learn. And I got to tell you, there's some guys like when I do a campaign just for the hell of it, you know, sometimes I'll throw it over at somebody like Perry. And I swear to God, he will chew me up one side and down the other, just like what I'm doing with you guys. And I'm like, damn it, I knew better than that. Every time. And I'll be sitting there when I hit the send button to send it to him. I thought it was fantastic. And that doesn't last very long. But it's all for the good. And every time, you know, when he's going through like what I just did with you, I'm just sitting there going, damn it, I know better than that. I knew that. So it's all good stuff. But like I said, you don't have to be perfect. What you have to do is be moving forward, you know, because what you have there, I'm sure it will generate leads. But what I'm talking about doing to it is it'll tenfold your lead generation. And the more leads you have to follow up with, the fuller your sales funnel will be, and the more sales are going to drop out the end of it. You got to keep that pipeline full. And the other thing that will help you is to get these things dialed in before you start sending traffic to them. Because as you know, no matter how you get your traffic is expensive. And it's really expensive when your forms are not converting. So the micro commitment thing, having that button, teasing them to click that button to get what they want, and then having them put the name and email in. That's the other thing about your form. I think it asked too much. If you just simply ask for their first name and their email, this is all I need to get you what you're asking for. Now they're in the database. Now you can follow up and you can get them to fill out more forms for more information, and you can collect more data. And in your database, you have a way to score people on how high a level of a prospect they are. If they're willing to come back and fill out another form and give you more data, they just got a higher score. If they're willing to come back and continuously engage with you and give you more data, your chances of selling to that person is going up exponentially. It just goes through the roof. But if you don't get them in the database to begin with, you don't have that opportunity. So I would just soon get less information on the front and get them in the process. So like, unless I absolutely had to have their phone number, or if for some reason I was really trying to pre-qualify somebody, I wouldn't ask for the phone number on the first date. Now, where I would ask for it is if I'm trying to see if they're serious. If I'm really trying to, like, blow the tire kickers out, then I would use it. And again, these things are all tools. They're all tools to get what you need. If you need a lot of prospects, then you don't ask for it. If you don't want a lot of prospects and you're just looking for the one guy, like the water park guy, oh yeah, we're asking for phone number right out of the gate, because we don't want a bunch of tire kickers. We want the guy that can write $100 million check. And if he's interested, he's putting his phone number in. He doesn't have a problem with that. And that comes back to knowing your avatar, knowing who you're talking to, what they want, why they want it, how they act. Those guys don't buy $100 million water park off a website. They want to talk to somebody. They don't want to download a free PDF. They want to talk to somebody and find out in the first 5 minutes if they know what they're doing and they can build this water park that they're dreaming about. So there's places where I'll use phone numbers. There's places where I'll use everything. And then there's a lot of places where there's very few things I'll use. So the cool thing is you've got this ultimate tool belt of all the stuff at your disposal to use. So let's see. The other thing too, Tony, that you might be really interested in is the new lead generation system that we're about to release. We talked about it a couple of calls ago, and we actually made a form in Kartra. I don't know if you were on that call or not, but we have developed an AI lead generation system. And it works in two different ways. The first way it works, it's kind of like the old-fashioned retargeting, where you put a pixel code on your website, and then anybody that goes to the website, the old-fashioned way was it would put the pixel into their browser. And then you could retarget them by going out to an ad network, and you could pay the ad network to display your ads out to anybody that has your pixel. That's the way the old-fashioned retargeting went. The only thing you had was ads popping up in front of them now when they go to other websites. And it worked really well, but it didn't put them in your database. Didn't allow you to email them, didn't allow you to call them, didn't really even allow you to know who they were. So it's still up to you to get them off of those ad banners over back onto your site, back into your system. With what I'm about to release, that pixel code is not targeting their browser. It's targeting their identity based on their browser habits and the identity of who owns the browser. And it's using big data sources to pull their name, their email address, their physical address, their phone number, the whole enchilada. Now you could take that information and you could pipe that into a CRM. You could pipe that into Keep and send them a follow-up email. I wouldn't do it in the way that say, hey, thank you for visiting my site. If they didn't opt in, that would be a little freaky. but you could send them an email that just looks like it's totally random, but right to the point, almost like you read their mind. Like, for instance, if they were looking at a competitor's truck, you could send them an email that says something very negative about that competitor's truck. Like, I was thinking about using this to promote Kartra in comparison to ClickFunnels. Like, if somebody is looking for ClickFunnels, I could send them an email and say, yeah, ClickFunnels is a piece of shit. Have you looked at Kartra? That would probably grab their attention, right? They would open the email, and now I'm leading them to where I want them to go. So that's the first way it works, is on your site. The second way it works, and those leads, we can generate those leads for about $1, which is pretty cheap to generate leads. The other way is, this is actually doing it off of search, where they haven't been on your site. Let's say they run a search and they start looking at competitors' sites. They start consuming contextual information. With the contextual information on different sites that they're consuming, we can do the same thing. We can generate leads based on people's content consumption, based on keywords.
Well, we started using a tool that sounds like what you're describing about 2 months ago.
Mm-hmm.
And we have about 3,500 visitors a month to the site, to this site that you were just on a minute ago, or at least that test page. And of course, what we're doing is we're identifying the people that came to the site that fit our avatar, but didn't actually fill out a form on the site.
Yeah.
So we're getting some of that now, and we're working on how to follow up and engage.
Mm-hmm.
You think about that first date scenario that you were talking about. Well, this is, borders on creep factor, right? I mean, it's like
yeah, you got to be careful.
Hey, man, we know you've been on our website,
Yeah, I see. I wouldn't approach it that way.
And so we need your credit card number pretty quickly.
Yeah, I definitely would not approach it that way of, hey, thanks for visiting our site, because they're going to go, that would be a little creepy. What you should use it for is, though, you just read their mind.
Yeah.
You could send out an email that says, hey, if you're in the market for a truck, not making the assumption they've already been on your site.
Yeah.
Something like that. Or, if you can't find a truck in inventory, you need to see this, something like that. Figure out what it is that they want, and then equate it to that, not the fact that they'd been on your website.
Yeah.
Because
we thought we might just try, hey, we'd like to get to know you better, so maybe you could just fill out this form, right? Make sure you put your credit card information in. Send money. We'll explain later.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that might freak them out a little bit.
John, did you ever see the movie or the video that Frank Kern did called Sneak Attack? Where he was
sounds familiar.
Trying to go up to one of his friend's apartments, and they're going up the elevator of this guy's apartment to try to sneak in onto him. And the whole time they didn't realize is the elevator had an echo, and the guy could hear it hear him coming up the elevator the whole time because the elevator echoed. And he goes into sneak attack, and he was like, dude, I heard you coming a mile away. That's what I think about when people are like, when you're trying to describe this is, when he's saying being covert about saying it, as opposed to, hey, yeah, I noticed you're on our website. That's like Frank Kern's sneak attack. They can hear you a mile away coming,
Yeah. That's definitely got whiskers on the cheese.
Definitely.
But if you use it like a mind reading tool.
Yeah. So what we're doing, actually, John, we're taking this this new approach on these avatars, and we've actually are matching up a postcard program with these individual pages. So these landing pages will, basically use the same branding messaging for these different avatars for the different models of trucks that we have.
Okay.
And so so what we're doing is identifying from this sonar system, being able to do a little reconnaissance about the companies that have been there and been able to look at their site and look at their profile of people and get an idea about what specific type of customers they serve. So
are you able to get their physical address? Their mail?
Yeah, we got everything. This physical address and the website, and then we're using what is it, Seamless AI to scrub and get their email addresses and I don't think we've got anybody's credit card with it yet, but maybe that'll be next. Maybe that'll be soon.
Maybe, but yeah, that would be a cool way to go about prospecting for sure. The other thing too, since you've got their physical mailing address, this is something that a lot of people have forgotten about, is sending full color postcards.
Yeah, that's what we're doing.
Yeah,
that
can be very effective now because nobody else is doing it.
Right. They don't get enough love letters in the mail anymore. So
exactly,
we got that. Yeah, that's the thing, man. We're trying to have this, 6-step process, and some of it's offline, some of it's online.
Yeah,
and we like to call people, right? We enjoy calling people. It's a lot of fun.
Hopefully you've got people that like to do that. That's awesome. But yeah, as the internet space gets really cluttered, that's like, if you think back 20-25 years ago, you'd go to your mailbox, you'd come home and your mailbox would be just chock full of all this crap, and it'd take you 10 minutes just to sift through all the garbage. That's kind of like what the online space has become now. So now you go to your mailbox and, you're happy to see something in there that's colorful and bright and grabs your attention. So you could really stand out by sending postcards. And that way you can use the postcard to drive them to the special offer on the website.
We recently read something from Google, and I don't know if this is new or if it's old or if it's emerging, but the subject was talking about Google's mobile first policies. Basically, if the content of the phone version is equal to the desktop version of your website, it improves your ranking. Than if your website's not mobile friendly. That's been around a while, hasn't it?
Yeah, that's been around for quite some time. When that first came out, it was like sites weren't really responsive. They didn't have the responsive technology yet. So what most people would do was they would have their regular website, and it might have 100 pages on it. And they would hire a company to make a mobile friendly version of their site, and it might only have 10 pages on it.
Gotcha.
Because they didn't want to pay for the 100 pages to be created.
Right.
And Google would see that, and they wouldn't value that main website as much because it didn't have a real mobile version of it.
Yeah. Well, ours is responsive. We don't have an issue there, then, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, there's also the I think they call it AMP, which is accelerated mobile pages. And I know Google's got some technology for that. I never really delved that much into it, but I know some of the guys that are doing hardcore local SEO, they found that by using the AMP on their mobile pages, they got better results.
Well, we don't work local. Ours SEO is not really for local. But how about this, John? We were recently told that our website was slow to load.
Is it a WordPress site?
It is.
Okay. And it's probably running on a CPanel server.
Correct.
That's why it's slow.
Yeah.
CPanel servers are not optimized for WordPress. And if they do optimize it for WordPress, it will just literally make everything else crawl.
What's the solution, John?
So that's why, like, we offer when we do hosting, we have CPanel servers for all non-WordPress sites.
Okay.
And we have just regular Unix platform servers that are highly optimized just specifically for WordPress for those sites. And
Okay.
but most of the regular standard hosting out there, like if you go to any of the cheap hosting, they're all plugging everybody on CPanel and they're putting 1,000 people on a single server, and it just kills them. And if you're in a hosting company that serves internet marketers, it's even worse because they give them the $5 account where they can load 1,000 WordPress sites under one account, and all that's dragging the server down. So, like, to give you an idea, our hosting accounts on our optimized WordPress servers, we only allow a single install. So each account is a single WordPress install, and we don't put any more than 25 on a server. Whereas
25 pages, 25
No,
accounts.
25 WordPress installs, 25 accounts. So in comparison to, like, let's say Bluehost, they'll put 1,000 clients on a single server and they'll offer them unlimited domain hosting. So they could, each one of those 1,000 could load 100 WordPress sites if they wanted to. And what do you think that does to that server? It takes it to its knees. WordPress is a very server intense program to run. So it's sucking the life out of that. It would be like on your desktop at home if you were running 1,000 programs at once. You know what would happen. It would just lock up at some point.
What's
I'm jumping
WH?
in here, John. Hey, Tony, just
Yeah.
go with John's website hosting service because it's awesome. So worth the money.
Okay.
What was the question about HTTP?
WHM? What is WHM?
WHM that's the CPanel. WHM is like the company.
Oh, okay.
The CPanel is one of their products.
And we have a virtual private server for that. So that's nice. It's going to be code
Okay.
multiple.
Yeah, if you have a virtual private server, you might be able to get them to optimize it. Since you're the only one on there, that could be an option for you. If they even know how to do it. Depends on what hosting company you're with. Usually they don't. Usually they're just like, they don't want any part of that.
Okay. So I don't know the host company name. I don't think it is. A HostGator? That seems like that might have been one that we used. Maybe we used it in the past.
Yeah.
I have to ask Perry. Perry, what's the name of the hosting company that we're using?
Perry's muted out there.
He would know off the top of his head, probably.
HostGator, he said in the chat. Yeah. Yeah. So HostGator, they serve a lot of internet marketers.
Right.
So the fact that they're telling you it's a virtual private server,
Yes.
that's basically a segment on a bigger server that who knows how many of those they're stuffing on that server.
All right.
That would be my best guess as to why it's so slow.
So
We've
we
had
had a recommendation a moment ago, said johnlimbacher.com or something like that. What is it? Where your hosting service is?
Oh, Internet Dominators. Yeah, if you want to do that. Tim was with HostGator and moved to SiteGround last year. He said he got much better performance too. Because it's SiteGround works, they work with a lot of web developers, but it's a big difference between web developers and internet marketers. web developers just kind of do their own thing. They stay in the, a little box and just do what they know how to do. When you get out into the internet marketing space, they're just like, it's madness. Madness. They don't want to spend any money, and they all want, enormous resources, and it's like you get what you pay for.
Gotcha. All right, man. You've probably spent enough time on all our stuff today. I appreciate your
No worries.
working on it, man.
No worries. All right. Anybody else got any good stuff you want to talk about here? Oh, you guys are quiet today. Well, I'm going to be sending out an email invite for anybody that wants to test the new lead generation thing. If any of you guys want to do that, there's 2 pieces to it. Richard, I know you're on the list. We're going to be doing that. You'll get an email. For those of you that didn't see the form, I'll send you a link to the form for the beta tests, and we're going to put this out to some beta test people and see what we can do. See what kind of results we can get right out of the gate. But it works the 2 ways. It works either on your site or off your site. So even if you've got a site that doesn't have much traffic, like Tony's got a shitload of traffic, so it would work right out of the gate just off of the traffic off the site. But even if you have a site that has little to no traffic, you can set up a search campaign and just give it a list of keywords. And what it does, it looks out at all the contextual sites out there. And keep in mind, Google knows everything. Google knows everything about every user experience, every page you've ever gone to. They've been tracking this data since 2006. So basically, anybody that has been looking on sites based on those keywords, consuming contextual data, we'll be able to mine a good number of them. We can't get all of them. It's not 100%. We're getting a fraction of what's there. But when we can get it, it's got all the detailed information. Got the phone number, got the address, the email, the whole enchilada, the name. And again, I'll do some work with whoever wants to do this. We'll kind of work together to come up with a scheme for how you're going to read their mind, because I don't want you guys, shooting at them the wrong way and looking freaky. You don't want to do that. That's not going to get us good results in any way, shape, or form. But showing up at the right place at the right time can be very, very beneficial. A lot of these mailing lists, the mailing list houses are basically doing this. They've been doing it for a long time. They just have sites all over the internet with forms and giving away all kinds of free stuff, and they create databases of people's interests, like what they opted in for. And then you can go to them and you can do a solo email drop out to a category of people that have shown interest in something. That's one of the things I covered some time back was solo emails. They call it email drop. And there's companies that specialize in this. And they're ad companies, they're lead generation companies. They've got all kinds of websites, they've got all kinds of offers, and they get people to opt in for all kinds of stuff. And based on what they opted in for, you can pay them to send an email on your behalf. And since they are the one that got the opt-in, the email is actually coming from them, not from you. And it's almost like they're introducing you as an affiliate type of a situation. So solo emails can be really a good source of leads. So that's a good thing to potentially think about. But here we can generate those ourselves, and we just have to be careful with how we communicate with them. Like Tony said, don't say, hey, thanks for coming to my site. Now I followed you home. That's like being in a store shopping for clothes, and you're sitting down at the dinner table and you get a knock at the door and you go to the door and it's the clothes salesman and he followed you home and say, hey, did you see this one thing? I think you might be interested in it. You probably invite him in and he wouldn't leave alive. Oh man, cool stuff. Another thing some of you might be interested in, I know all of you are probably not interested in this, but I have been convinced to do another SEO reboot. It's been quite some time since I've done that. I think the last one was like 2015. And I used to do it every year. Called it SEO reboot. And basically, we would just throw everything out the window that had to do with SEO. And we just started over and say, starting from scratch, ground zero, here's the way SEO is this year. Here's the way it is right now. And like I said, I think it was like 2015, the last time I did one of those live events. And it was always cool. Whenever I would do it, it really blew my mind that people would come from all over the world. I had people coming from countries, funky countries I'd never even heard of. And that really blew my mind. This time, I don't know. I don't think I'm going to do it in person. I think I'm going to do it a virtual Zoom meeting, but it will be like a 2-day course. It'll cover everything. So I'm working on it. I've got the outline. I just did the outline structure the other day. So I have the full framework of the course. And it will be, as far as SEO goes, it will be very different than any of the SEO courses I've taught in the past. It will have the up-to-date stuff, the AI, how I would do things. Again, I'm not actively doing SEO at this point. I'm advising a lot of people on how to do it. I've got a lot of people that are doing it, feeding me results, showing me what they're doing, the results they're getting. And then I pick that apart, go back to them with, hey, try this. I have a lot of people at my disposal that will try things and feed me back the data, which is how I account for how much I know about SEO to begin with. I've always done that. I always ran a big community of people with SEO. They would bring me their problems. I would tell them how I thought it should be solved. They would go do it and bring me the results back. In most cases, I was right. Not all the time. Sometimes they would bring me results back and it went the wrong way. But then we knew. And I'd give them something new to do, and then they'd do that, and then it would work. So I've got a lot more than most people. Most people just do SEO themselves. They get their own results and they learn, and it's a slow learning process. I've had hundreds of people that I could use their efforts for my learning ability. So I just exponentially probably know more about what happens in the SEO world than most people because of that. So anyway, we got that coming up. That's to look forward to. Pretty cool stuff. Richard's over there like, oh God, not again. It's starting over.
Not at all, John, because like you said, interestingly enough, AI, at least from what I've been listening to, AI will never get rid of SEO, because SEO is about, I want to know who does this stuff, and AI ain't about that, and the databases are never current.
Yeah, exactly. But the thing that I've realized more than ever is, with the way SEO has gone over the last, 5 to 10 years, it has moved toward user experience. It's a lot about user experience. And the user experience is all about ACT. So the interconnection between marketing and search results has gotten exponentially stronger. So if you're able to communicate, if you're able to draw somebody through your site, if you're able to bring them back, all of that stuff is huge factors that nobody's looking at. They see these big sites now, and it almost, the way it is has almost made it unfair again for the little guys, because it's giving power to the big guys just by way of virtue, because they all have mailing lists. They all do promotions. They all bring people back. After they've used search, they bring them back on their own, and Google sees that. So if you think about it, that's what Google really wants. They want to create a good user experience. So if Google sees, like, you guys all know about FOMO, right? Fear of missing out. Google has a very high sense of FOMO. If Google sees activity on a website that they didn't generate, or they didn't indirectly generate, they have FOMO. They want to send their traffic to that website. So it's really interesting how that has all come into play, and how closely related it is to ACT and marketing. How closely related it is to giving people what they want and keeping them engaged. So that is, it's really cool to see that. I mean, from the beginning, from day one, if I would have had my way, it would have been this way right from the get-go.
The benefit had been, John, is that if we've been following you for 10 years, we've been doing that since the get-go, because you spotted that and you've been teaching that. That's why none of your sites have ever been bounced.
Yeah. It's they might have not gotten the instant results like some of these SEO guys, but they certainly have lasted. So anyway, the new SEO reboot will be pretty cool. And it'll probably, I would be willing to bet that when I do this particular SEO reboot, it'll probably last a long time. I don't see a lot of change moving forward from Google's perspective at this point. They really have beaten and killed off most of the SEO industry by virtue of what they've done, which was brilliant. I would have done it way sooner than they did it. But that was like 2010. I started telling people, this is where they're going to go. If it were me, this is where I would go.
Well, John, in decimating the rest of the SEO business, we're still the only ones that can go, oh, we're the only ones that can still absolutely, yeah, we guarantee results.
Yep. All right. Well, that was about it that I had for you guys for today. Anything you want me to hit before we wrap up? All right.
Yeah, John, I have a question. I have completed, I'm completing with a situation, so I'm going to have more time in my day. So I want to increase my coaching business. And okay. I have a few clients. So I wanted, and it's like basically women entrepreneurs that they have kind of a consciousness / spiritual business, like massaging. One's she is an art auctioneer, like these kinds of businesses. But the entrepreneur, the person that is the entrepreneur is usually, I have all females, and they're all like smart business women in different areas. So I wanted to know any thoughts on how to go about doing that, because I'm seeing what works with the people that I can serve, and it's usually women that are entrepreneurs, that are smart, conscious, and kind of have a care about, they have a spiritual background and all of this, in terms of like a lot of impact around environmental awareness and all of this other stuff. So I just thought I have a kind of specific avatar, and I was wanting your thoughts on like a big idea or just a path to generate new clients.
Okay. So with big idea, you've got to have the promise. So you really have to kind of get clear on what it is that you're going to sell them based on who they are, what they want. If you're going to develop something for them, it really needs to deliver an outcome that they're going to want. And that's going to be your promise. Your promise is going to be the delivery of their desired outcome. So that's going to be the analysis piece of the process. If you figured out the avatar and who they are, the next step would be to figure out what they want, why they want it. And then that's going to give you your promise for your big idea. And then you need to come up with the delivery mechanism of what you're going to do to deliver that result and give it a unique name. And it really is just that simple. And then once you have those two pieces, then you can kind of noodle around like, okay, you want to turn it into some sort of a metaphor or something that is like, this is like this, but like that. And then that's the intellectually interesting piece of it. Like you could say, this is the new railroad to health and wellness, or, and they'll like, railroad, how the hell does a railroad fit into health and wellness? And it's just the rails of the system that's going to get them there. So, you're basically just turning it into a metaphor. So,
okay.
So you got a little analysis work to do to figure out, that. And then I love that part of the whole equation too, because it's product development. There's so many of the things that I sell today have come out of that product development portion. I'll have a group of people, like for instance, I just had, that's why I'm doing the SEO reboot. I had a group of people that I spoke to, and this was Damian Zamora's group. And he's an old school internet marketer. I met up with him at Perry's AI conference, and I hadn't seen him in years. He's like, hey, what are you doing? He goes, I know you're way ahead of most of these people in the AI stuff. Would you come over and talk to my group about it? I'm like, sure. So we did that, and come to find out, most of his group is agency owners. And I said, hey, I've got a perfect product for the agency owners, which is SitePop. So we wound up doing a webinar, and we sold a crap load of product to his agency owners. And then he came back around and he's like, these guys really want to know a lot more about SEO. None of them know anything about SEO. Your SitePop product is awesome, but they want to know about SEO. So that's where it came up with, okay, we've got a group of people that want something. I can deliver, boom, instant product.
Yeah. Yes. Well, we know you can deliver.
and then, once that's made, sure, it was made for his group, but that I could sell that out to the entire world. So it could become a much bigger product, a much bigger offer. So it's, it's just part of that process. It's part of the analysis piece. I didn't go in to create that product and then go look for an audience for it. I don't work that way.
Right.
I will find an audience and I will create whatever they need. That's the way I've always done it. If I think they'll need it, I'll make them an offer. And if they don't buy it, I won't make it. Just that simple.
Yes, I've learned that from you. And that's I'm a happy minion.
It's like I learned that. I don't know where I learned that from, but maybe it's just my sense of laziness. I'm not.
No, I want you to shift to the word economy. You're not lazy at all.
Oh, well, yeah, I am.
No, he's lazy. I can attest to that. He's lazy. He's just good at making money being lazy. That's a true lazy person, knows how to make money doing it.
Yeah.
That was funny. One of the guys in Bill Gates' one of his teams, his production teams. He brought a concept to the boardroom. He said, if you want to get something done, if you want the most effective, efficient way to get something done, you find me the laziest person on the team and you put them in charge of it. They're going to find the way to do it, shortcut the system. They're going to get it done the quickest, fastest, easiest way. And that's pretty much me in a nutshell. I'll always find the quickest, fastest, easiest way to do anything, because that puts me back into the mode of doing whatever I want.
Yes, it's a good formula.
Yeah.
To win, to create a life you love. All right. Well, thank you, John. I just I'm happy and excited.
All right. Well,
It's a
cool.
good- well, we're down to the original crew here almost.
Well, Craig's doing his event in LA today. I couldn't make it because I've got back-to-back conference calls all day, so
That's
wasn't able to make that one. And
Well, I couldn't either because it was in LA.
yeah,
I
and
refused to go to LA unless I'm being paid to go there now.
is he going to have his new friend there,
Which new one?
the sequin guy?
Oh, I don't think so. I think he's here in Dallas and his thing's Saturday,
Oh, okay.
which I met him too. All right. And for those of you who are in Craig's mastermind, I told him, I says it was so good. All right, that you came on the call and showed that you basically are doing something that someone who was on the call has been one of the things he's dipping into. All right. That's why he's never serious. I says, you kind of give him a kick in the butt to go, oh crap, this guy here is doing, and you like, and when this person spoke up and said, well, that's what I'm doing. I'm like, dude, you're doing so many things. Nobody knows what you're doing. We won't say his name.
Yeah, yeah. Well, the guy that is doing whatever the other one wanted to do, that was just a little too much for me.
Yeah. Well, I know, I get it. It's not my thing either. I'm like, dude, I'm not going to waste Saturday on that. Like,
No.
Dean Kane asked me one time, he says, what's your idea of mindset? I says, a bunch of poor thinkers, all right, who waste their time with a woo-woo term, mindset. Get up and do it. That's my mindset. Dean thought that was hilarious.
Forward motion. Yep. Test it, try it, look at the results and move forward.
So, John, I wanted to ask you about that funnel that you kind of, our campaign, you kind of dropped into my thing last week before, and I noticed it was for Site Pop. And
Yes.
I looked at all the toys and bells and stuff that goes on with it and thought I could almost reuse all of that, and then but not that video. The video for it is for a specific webinar.
Yeah.
And I'd have to change the video out to a different video to use my affiliate link for Site Pop.
Yeah, because it's a selling system.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look at the way the campaign goes, you do the live webinar like on a Wednesday,
Mm-hmm.
and then you expire the first opportunity to buy Friday night at midnight.
Mm-hmm.
And then if they buy after Friday night, that's okay, but they just get less of the bonus.
Yeah.
And then Sunday night at midnight, it expires again. And again, they could still buy, but they get less of the bonus. And then at some point you end it and you go to the full retail pricing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really incredible. You get very few sales on the actual webinar.
Mm-hmm.
The actual webinar gets just a handful of sales. But where you get most of the sales is on the replay.
Mm-hmm.
You send the replay out as soon as it's up, as soon as the video is rendered, you put the replay up and you send out the email notification reminding them that, they have till Friday night. They want to make sure they get in on it. You send a couple of different reminder right up to Friday night at midnight. And then Saturday, you're like, damn, you really missed out on this one. But the offer's still for sale. You just don't get, I give them 3 months of free service.
Mm-hmm.
So you missed out on the 3 months of free service, but I'll still give you 2 if you buy it before Sunday night.
Mm-hmm.
And it works really well. There's a shitload of sales that come in Friday night. There's another shitload that comes in Sunday night. It's almost equal. The amount of sales that come in Friday night and Sunday night is almost identical.
Wow.
And then you still continue to get sales after the fact. And you get a lot of people that will contact you directly and go, man, I just totally forgot, or I was out of town, or they come up with all kinds of excuses. You know, their dog ate their pants, you name it. I've heard it all.
Mm-hmm.
And I usually create a secondary backdoor page that has the original offer without the timers.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll give them that link. I'll say, hey, don't tell anybody, but here's a backdoor link and I'll give you the same 3-month deal.
Mm.
And they love it. The other thing that I've found by doing that format is you don't get hardly any, like I get almost no refunds, almost none doing it that way.
Yeah.
When you hammer them that you got to buy it now, this is it. When the webinar ends, the sale's over, you know, or you get an hour or two, it's over today. You get a lot of refunds because you get people that, you know, they don't know what they're doing. They buy it. They don't really have time to evaluate it and even know if they want it. They just buy it on impulse. And then the next day they're like, oh, I don't want that.
Okay. I was looking at studying that site pop and thinking about trying it.
Yeah. But it does, the product doesn't matter. That sequence, that sales sequence of that webinar works really, really well.
I'm probably going to put it through, but I'm probably going to get my affiliate link for site pop and run it that way. Why not? I mean, you know, how many, well, there's nobody in here today, but how many people I've led to, you know, to ACT program that's in this community now. So, yeah.
Yeah. It's awesome. Well, cool stuff.
Hey, John, can I just ask a quick question?
Sure.
So I have a website on Strikingly, but it's not, you know, I'm not doing really anything with it, but I have this thing where it says, take action on your Google Analytics account before July 1st. I don't even know what this is tied to. So is it necessary that I do this? I mean,
No, it's Google Analytics has gone through an upgrade process. Most people that created a Google Analytics account years and years and years ago never used it. And that's probably your case as well. So unless you're using Google Analytics and you want to continue to use it and not have an interruption, then you need to do something. But if you're not using it and you don't really care, you can just let it fall by the wayside. And then when you want to use it in the future, just set up a new account.
gotcha. Okay, perfect. Thank you.
It. Yeah, that whole Google Analytics thing, they've been sending those warning notices for like a year now. And I think it's finally just getting to the end of it. Like, okay, this is it. The deadline's coming up. But most people don't even know what it is. Most people don't have Google Analytics. If you've had any kind of an advertise company working for you, like somebody that set up Facebook ads or any kind of ad program, any kind of paper ad program or SEO program, any third-party vendor that has done any work for you, they probably set it up and put it on your site so they could monitor it for you.
Interesting. Okay.
And
Well, I don't know about it. So.
Yeah, if you haven't, maybe it was your web developer. They might have put it in for you.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Anybody could have put that in. But
Perfect.
yeah,
I can cross it off my list. Perfect.
yeah, if you're not using it, it's nothing to worry about.
Awesome. Thanks, John.
Yeah, in fact, if you've got a WordPress site and you've got Google Analytics plugins in there, you can just delete them. If you're not using them, you can just get rid of them. And then in the future, if you decide you want that product, you can go to Google, you can set it up fresh and new and be on your way.
You have a better analytics than Google Analytics, or are they the best of the bunch out there?
I can almost tell you for sure they're not the best of the bunch. They have stripped so much data out of it. I wish we could have the original back, which was Urchin. You know about Urchin?
Yeah, that was the one that they bought up because it was too good.
Yeah. Yeah. The Urchin software was incredible analytics. And Google bought it, changed the name, stripped all the good stuff out of it. And they've been cutting it back ever since, and to the point where, to me, having known what was in there originally, I think it's absolutely worthless at this point, because I know what data is really there. And they just don't show you what you want to really see.
Well,
But-
with AI being able to write all the new programs, could you write an urgent 2.0 using AI and get past that? Or is there more involved in it? I have no idea what's involved.
Well, I actually know the 3 guys that created Urchin originally. They live in San Diego. I had, on several occasions, I had thought about contacting them and having them build something like that for me, because I'm pretty sure that all their contracts and stuff have expired by this point. Because that was well over 10 years ago.
What do you have to do to be able to get the analytics?
Well, the analytics are there. It's just deciphering them. Because when you host on a server, the server has all that data. There are server logs that contain everything. It's a matter of how you get access to it, how you display it, how you decipher it. So what Urchin did was Urchin just took the logs that were already on the server, and they just would give you all the data. Like if you're on a CPanel server, the one that comes standard with it, I believe, is called Webalizer. And if you've got Webalizer, you probably have that by default in your CPanel settings. You can go in there and you can see a tremendous amount of data from Webalizer, but it's not in the format that Urchin put it into. Urchin just really did a phenomenal job of creating that software.
So is the analytics you're doing only on your own site, or do you actually get analytics from other people's sites as well?
Well, with Google Analytics, what it would do is it would take the analytics that they wanted you to see, and it would take it out of your site to be able to display on other control panels and stuff. But typically your server data, your server logs are protected and secured inside the server that you're hosted on. So they're not publicly accessible. So Google just made your logs publicly accessible to use in report generating software and, all kinds of other stuff. Whereas Urchin was its own report generating software, and it connected to your server logs, pulled all the data in, and gave it to you in a format that was just absolutely amazing.
Let's go.
There's too many opportunities for me. I'm just overwhelmed at all the things I could possibly do if I wanted to. But like even the lead generation thing that I'm about to cut loose, that has been something I've been toying with for a couple of years. The guys that I had fiddling with it, they finally called me about a month ago and they said, "Hey, we think we're pretty close." I'm like, "Really?" So I start taking a look at it and I'm like, "Yeah, you are really close." So I think we need to put some beta testers on it. And if it does what it's supposed to do, I could potentially roll that out to a lot of people. There's a lot of agencies that would want that.
So is this something that you put on your site to reach out, or are you gonna keep that all secret till you talk to us?
Oh, what do you mean?
Well, I mean, you say it's a software. Is it software? Is it a desktop software? Is it a cloud software? Is it someone that, do we have to pay to go out and get this stuff, or how, is there a charge on top of what we would pay you to have access to it? How does all that work? How much of it?
It's a cloud-based software Basically what I've got it set up to do is you would pay to have access to it. So you'd pay a certain amount per month to get access to the software. And then within that, you could generate as many leads as you wanted. So you might pay, you know, X amount per month for access to the platform. And then you could generate as many leads as you wanted to generate. And the leads are based on basically the cost of mining the data, which if we're talking about search leads, it's under $2 a piece. If it's leads off your own website, it's under $1 a piece. So if you wanted,
So is the software 2, 3, or 4 digits a month?
I mean, you know me, I probably won't charge much for it. I don't really know yet, but I probably won't charge that much for it. So, and I'll make about on the data, I'll make about 5% of the data across the whole platform.
Oh, so there's where your money is.
Yeah. Yeah. So like if somebody's buying, if they're $2 a lead and they're buying 50 leads a month, that's $100. I'll make $5.
Times how many digits?
Yeah. Times how many people would be using that. Yeah. That's where the money comes in. But again, never about trying to fleece any one person for a bunch of money. It's offering, you know, a massive opportunity to a massive amount of people that there's benefit for everybody. So there's a bright and shiny future in collecting nickels.
When my dad first heard about McDonald's, when they were first rolling out as a franchise, he about fell out of his chair when they said, well, we're going to sell a burger, and every time we slide a burger across the table, it's a nickel. And he goes, how in the hell do you make any money with a nickel on a hamburger? And then Colonel Sanders came out and said, every time I push a piece of chicken over the table, that I make 15 cents. And Dad goes, well, that's a better one. But those nickels and dimes really add up, I would guess.
They absolutely do. So, all right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up for this week. And thank you guys for coming on and indulging me with my madness.
Good time. Thanks, John.
Thank you for indulging us with our madness, John.
Absolutely. All right. We will talk to y'all next week.
Bye.
Bye-bye.